Hello students, welcome back to our channel and for biology classes. Today we will discuss on sexual reproduction. We have already been discussed earlier regarding the features of reproduction. So we'll see what is the definition of sexual reproduction. So it says a type of reproduction in which the formation as well as fusion of gametes will occur. And we had seen that there is the formation of gametes due to meiosis. So an individual will give rise to gametes, and these gametes that are formed, male gamete and female gamete, they will fuse together to give zygote. Right? We had discussed this earlier. So it is a type of reproduction in which there is the formation of gametes and their fusion. And this fusion, we call it as syngamy. Or fertilization. We should also remember that fertilization is the process which is carried out during the syngamy. And syngamy, we can say it is just the fusion of male and female gametes. We should also remember that these gametes are always haploid. Okay? Haploid means the number of chromosomes are half in the gamete. So they have, each gamete have half the number of chromosomes or one set of chromosomes. Whereas in diploid, that is 2n, there are two sets of chromosomes. And these two sets of chromosomes in the diploid organism is obtained by the mother parent as well as the father parent through the gametes. So therefore the zygote is also a diploid. Why? Because it is the fusion of male and female gametes. So definitely both the set of chromosomes will be seen in this individual. So later on this zygote will undergo mitotic division and it will give rise to an individual. So that is about sexual reproduction. Now syngamy can be of two different kinds. One is endogamy and another one is exogamy. So what do we mean by endogamy or exogamy? Endogamy is the one wherein in an individual both the reproductive organs will be present. So therefore gametes also will be released in that individual only. Okay, so here only one individual is involved in sexual reproduction. So that is called as endogamy. Okay, whereas exogamy, wherein there are two individuals that are involved of opposite sex. One is male parent, another one is female parent. Okay, so syngamy are of two kinds, endogamy and exogamy. So we'll just brief out these characteristics of sexual reproduction. So it is biparental, we had discussed earlier. So of the opposite sex, but now also we have to remember that there can be one individual which can give rise to both the gametes. Okay, so both the reproductive organs will be present in that individual. So first one is biparental, male and female individuals will be there except some species, as I said, because there can be in one individual itself both reproductive organs will be there. Formation and fusion of male and female gamete. Then meiosis, that means meiosis is playing very important role. We had also discussed how meiosis takes place. It is the process by which the individual, the myocytes will undergo meiotic division and the number of chromosomes will be reduced to half to form gametes. It is also called as reductional division. So gamete formation require meiotic division. We also call it as gametogenesis since gametes are formed. And it also involves mitotic division for the development of zygote. Then offspring are genetically different from the parents and also amongst themselves. That means this particular offspring which has been formed, it won't be resembling to the parent. As a species wise it will resemble, it will be similar, but genetically it will be different. Why? Because there are two gametes, different type of gametes that are involved in reproduction, and also amongst themselves. That means the offsprings which will be formed in this generation, they also will be different genetically. As we see in our family also, in the siblings we all are different, and also we are different from that of parent, that is genetically. Okay. Then, because there is the involvement of gametes, there is combination of different characteristics, therefore there will be variation, and that leads to evolution, and this step or reproduction is very important for evolution. Multiplication is very slow. In asexual reproduction, we see that we can multiply any plant very fast. There are so many vegetative propagules are there. So these methods which we can use also in horticulture, wherein we can multiply the plants or any other organisms. But here the multiplication is little slow because there are the process which is been involved. Unit of reproduction are haploid gametes. We have also seen that for the union of gametes, the gametes should be always haploid, and these cells, meiotic cells, okay, which undergo meiotic division, and once these gametes are formed or the haploid cells are formed, they can never undergo meiotic division because already the number of chromosomes are reduced to half. Found in higher plants and animals as well as few protists. So we see that such type of reproduction we see in higher plants, animals as well as fungal species also, and few protists. So overall sexual reproduction is slow process. It is very elaborate, complicated and complex process. Okay. So we see that higher plants, animals or the fungus or the protist in that particular case, we see that there are so many dissimilarities. Okay, the diverse organisms, these diverse organisms, they have some of the similarity that we'll see which are the similarity, otherwise morphologically or physiologically, or we say the internal structure which all these organisms have, they are different from each other. But still they share some similarity with respect to sexual reproduction. So we'll see how or what are the points which shows that there are the similarity between these diverse organisms. First one we can say about the phases of their life cycle, all the organism. It may be plant, animal, fungus or protist. So we see that there are 4 different phases which they go through. So this is the first point where there is the similarity. So all these organisms will have juvenile phase, vegetative phase. The other name for juvenile is vegetative. So this is meant for the plant. So for plant we will call it as vegetative phase. So what happens during juvenile period? There will be growth of these organism or individual that will take place. Next is reproductive phase. It is the maturity phase, we should remember, wherein the organs or reproductive organs are fully developed to carry out reproduction. Okay. So in reproductive phase, we see some different characteristics in the plants as well as animals. So we call it as flowering in plants, wherein the flowers will emerge. So that particular period of time we come to know in the plant that it is the reproductive phase which is going on. Whereas in animals, that is called as breeding phase. Now in this phase, in the animal, there will be some morphological characteristics which will be changed. Okay, and also there will be changes internally. Say for example, in human there will be in ovaries there will be some changes which will take place. There will be some hormonal changes which will take place, and also there will be some reproductive tract, some changes will be seen during breeding phase. So this is regarding the animals. And then once they reproduce, they will undergo senescent phase or aging period, wherein the metabolic activities will be lowered down. Okay, so it is the ceasing of all the activities, physiological activities which will be going on in the body of this organism, which will lead to death of this species. In plants also we see that some part of the plant will die and shed off. Okay, so it is difficult to see the senescent period in the plant, but we can see in the wood there are annual rings which will be seen. Based on that we can identify or find out the age of that particular plant or tree. Okay, whereas in animals we see that all these phases they will pass by and then death of that species will take place. Now with regard to all these phases, we see that annual plant or biennial plants. We already know that what are annual plant, those are seasonal plant. So within that season or 3 to 4 or 5 months, they will grow, get matured and they will give the flowers. So we can see this flowering very easily in annual plant. And once they give the fruits, they will die. So all the phases are remarkable in these plants. Also in the biennials, for example, beetroot, carrot or turnip, which are biennial. That means 1 year they will grow, get matured, and next year we will see the flowers which will emerge and then they will start fruiting. So in these plants we can see all the phases very clearly. But for perennial plant it becomes difficult. Perennial means those plants which survive more than 2 years. Why? Because in these flowering pattern is changed, okay, in some of these species. So we cannot identify or we cannot have the remarkable phases which they are going through. So say for example flowering phase in the plants which we'll discuss in detail. Some plants are seasonal. Now here what do we mean by seasonal flowers? That means in 1 year at a particular month they will flower. So year after year in same month the flowering will take place in these plants. Okay. There are some species which will flower more than once in their lifespan. So only once in their lifespan they will flower. Okay. Then there are some species wherein some flowers they'll flower throughout the year. So throughout the year we'll see these plants are blooming. And also we can see there are some unusual flowering phenomena. We should also remember that suppose in perennial plants, if in a particular month, say for example in month of May, flowering has taken place, okay, in a particular year. Now next year in month of May again flowering will take place. So the period between these two flowering stages, that period we call it as vegetative phase. Okay. Though it attains its reproductive phase during the month of May in 1 year, okay, once the fruits are formed, again it will undergo vegetative phase and then next May again it will undergo reproductive phase or the flowering phase. Okay, so we should remember that in between the two flowering phases, that is the vegetative phase which these perennial plants will undergo. So what are the unusual flowering phenomenon that we'll see? For example, bamboo species. Now these species will flower once in their lifetime. That is after 50 to 100 years, they will produce large number of flowers, fruiting will take place and then they will die. Another example which is very important, that is Strobilanthes kuntiana, wherein it flowers once in 12 years. So in 2006, in Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, in the hilly areas, we see these plants which blooms in September and October month. Okay, so it was seen in 2006. Then we had seen these flowers in 2018. Okay, so all these hilly areas, there will be blue stretches of these flowers. Okay, full area will be covered with these flowers and it is attracted by large number of tourists. So that was about the flowering phase, so wherein we see that it depends what type of plant it is, and accordingly in the perennial plants there are different phases, or there are different variation which we see about the flowering patterns. Next is about breeding phase in animals. Now there are some animals called as seasonal breeders. Now what do we mean by seasonal breeders? As the name says, seasonal. Okay, examples are birds, lizard or deer. During a particular favorable environment or favorable conditions, that time only they will breed and give birth. Okay, or they will give rise to the offspring. Otherwise not. So those are called as seasonal breeders. Now here I will emphasize on the birds. Though they are seasonal, that means only a particular season only they will lay the eggs. But in poultry farm, due to hormonal, the hormones that are being administered in these birds, they can give or lay eggs throughout the year. So in this particular case, we cannot call these birds as they are undergoing reproductive phase. We should remember that it is only for commercialization, for the human welfare. The people are doing this hormonal changes which will be done in these birds. Okay, otherwise birds are seasonal breeders. Other type of breeders are continuous breeders, wherein throughout their reproductive phase they are reproductively active. For example, cattle, mice, rabbit, these are continuous breeders. Okay, so the reproductive phase in that period, throughout the year they will reproduce. They have the capability. They don't have to wait for a particular season as such. In the female placental mammals, they exhibit cyclic changes. Now what are placental mammals? So mammals are those animals which have mammary glands. Now mammary glands are meant for lactation. That means these animals will produce milk for the growth of their young one. Okay. Now what do we mean by placental? Placental means these mammals have placenta, and these placenta is the organ which is meant for the exchange of the nutrients from the mother to the young one. So there is the connection between the mother and the young one through this placenta, wherein there will be exchange of nutrients, there will be exchange of gases through the blood. It will take place either from the mother to young one or from young one to the mother. So that is with respect to placental mammals. So these females, placental mammals, they exhibit cyclic changes. So there are two types of cyclic changes which we see. Okay, that is estrous cycle and another one is menstrual cycle. We should also remember that during the breeding phase or reproductive phase, there are many changes which occurs, that is in the ovaries, in the reproductive tract, as well as the hormonal changes which we see in the females during this period. So we'll see how these both cycles are different from each other which occurs in these females. So estrous cycle occurs in non-primates. Now what do we mean by non-primates? For example, cow, sheep, rats, deer, dogs, as well as tiger. These animals are called as non-primates, wherein their brain size will be smaller. Okay, as well as they don't have prehensile limbs or the tail. That means prehensile means they do not have any grasping power or ability through their limbs or with the help of their tail. Whereas menstrual cycle occurs in primate mammals. These mammals are at the higher level from that of non-primates. For example, monkeys, apes, as well as human. If we consider monkeys, they have tail, and this tail is prehensile. That means what? They have the ability to grasp or hang on the trees. Similarly, apes or human, we have the grasping ability with the help of our limbs. Okay, so that is the difference between these non-primates and primates. So we see that in the estrous cycle, which occurs in non-primates, whereas menstrual cycle will occur in the primate mammals. The changes in activities of ovaries, accessory ducts or reproductive tract, which we call it as, and the hormones, these changes which will be seen only during the breeding season of reproductive phase. Only this estrous cycle, the changes which will be seen, and that too it will be in the reproductive phase in a particular season. Whereas in primate mammals, the changes, same activities, these changes will be seen throughout the reproductive phase. Whereas here only that particular period of time, only during that cycle, the changes which will be seen. Whereas in the placental mammals, it will be throughout the reproductive phase. Next is estrous phase is the short period. Okay, and we call this period as heat. Okay, so it lasts for 12 to 24 hours, which is followed by anestrous phase, which is the longer period, and it is passive. That means during anestrous phase, there cannot be any breeding which can take place in these mammals. Those are non-primate mammals. Here I have taken one picture which is about the estrous cycle which occurs in dogs. So this is the estrous period which lasts for 9 days. I have mentioned here 12 to 24 hours. That is for throughout most of the animals, non-primate animals, mammals, they have these many hours. But here I have taken example of dog which has 9 days of estrous period. So during this period only they can breed or they can give birth to young one. Whereas the remaining phases which we see here, those are the passive phase wherein there cannot be any breeding. So if we count this period, we see to it that yearly only twice the breeding can take place in dogs. Okay, so that is only explains about the phase which is the period of heat. So during that period only there will be heat. Okay, the heat period wherein the breeding phase will be at the higher peak. Whereas in placental mammals, it consists of menstrual phase, follicular phase, luteal phase. This is the phases which are depicted, and all these phases comes under menstrual cycle. So we see here there is the menstrual phase, there is the follicular phase or proliferatory phase, wherein actually the ovary, there will be ovarian changes and the ova will be formed and it will ovulate or release the egg. And then next is secretory phase or luteal phase, where during the pregnancy the hormonal changes again it will occur, wherein the progesterone hormone which will be at higher peak. So we see in the menstrual cycle there are different phases. So these phases, after every 28 days this cycle will continue. Okay, so what is the main difference between estrous cycle and the menstrual cycle? There it is only 12 to 24 hours, that is the peak period or heat period where breeding can take place. Whereas here throughout the year, since the reproductive cycle or menstrual cycle occurs after every 28 days, that's why throughout the year these animals can give birth to young ones. Next, estrous cycle, during this period female receives the male for copulation. Copulation, that is the other term is mating. Okay, mating of male and female animal during this period. Okay, whereas female do not permit male during menstruation. That means there cannot be copulation during the menstrual phase. Now this is the phase wherein the uterus of the female, the inner lining called as endometrium, which sheds off. So during that particular phase, female do not permit male during menstruation, or there cannot be copulation. The female doesn't allow for copulation, okay, or mating. So what happens during this period? We should remember that in the uterus of the female, the inner lining, we call it as endometrium, which gets shed off. Okay, so there will be the blood cells, the cells which will get ruptured, and blood will ooze out through vagina. So during this phase, there won't be any copulation. Whereas in estrus phase or period, we see that female will receive during this estrus period for copulation. Okay, it will receive the male. Another thing which we have to discuss, that is blood does not flow in estrus cycle. So there is no blood that is flow. That flow is not there, which we do not see in the estrus phase. Whereas in menstrual phase, just now we had seen that the blood flows during the menstrual phase of the menstrual cycle. Menstrual cycle have 4 phases. Okay, that is the menstrual phase, follicular phase, ovulatory phase, and luteal phase. So the first phase of menstrual cycle, wherein the endometrium sheds off, okay, the cells get ruptured here. During that phase, there will be flow of blood through vagina. Such type of flow of blood is not seen in the estrus cycle or estrus period. So we see here that in the wild condition, most of the organisms which are seasonal breeders, they are throughout for so many years, they undergo passive or anestrus cycle, and they wait for the change or for the favorable condition so that estrus cycle can begin. Okay, whereas so those animals we can call it as seasonal breeders, whereas in continuous breeders, for example human or apes, wherein they don't require any season as such, and since we know that menstrual cycle occurs after every 28 days, therefore they are reproductively active throughout their throughout the year, we can say, or throughout the reproductive phase. So now we'll move on to main key points or tips which you have to follow. So we should remember regarding the characteristic of sexual reproduction, then how gametes are formed, that is through meiotic division, which cells are haploid, which cells are diploid, that also we should remember here. Unusual flowering phenomena, for example in Strobilanthes we had seen, bamboo species we had seen in the plants. Then differences between seasonal breeders and continuous breeders, and also the difference between estrus cycle and menstrual cycle. We should also know about which are the non-primate and primate members. So this is all about the main part of the sexual reproduction. In next video, we will see how the sexual reproduction is carried out, or what are the events that are carried out during the sexual reproduction. Thank you.